This is the Bowmen Podcast. Coming at you from our archery shop in Virginia, or wherever else you may find a rutting buck, bugling elk, or mountaintop campsite. The Bowmen Podcast is being brought to you by Triple Point Outdoors, creator of the patented Clovis mechanical broadhead, and Romano Outdoors, Virginia's specialty archery shop. Here's your host and founder, Paul Romano Jr.
Well, look who we have here. We got Josh Miller from Triple Point Outdoors. Say hi, wave to the fans.
Hey.
You'll be flying out here, what, in 5 days?
Tuesday, yeah. Long 15-hour ride.
Heading out to South Africa. Going to get it done out there with the new broadhead for Triple Point. Sound good. Looking forward to seeing it. So anything going to stop it this year?
I don't think so. It's got a lot of energy. It's going to blow right through a lot of things. So I think you're in for a show. If you want to watch and follow on Facebook, everybody, we're going to have a good time. And like I said, my entire impetus is it's about the fellowship, the friendship, and the hunt. And beyond that, we're going to do it right. And we're going to do it pretty precisely. So I think we're going to have some fun.
Nice. You got to have Johan do some live shots of you there.
We will. You're going to love it. Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah.
I want to see some of that. That's going to be fun. All right. We got Mr. Troy there from Greenlight Outdoors.
How's everybody doing?
Good. I'm a new member of Greenlight Outdoors. See, I just don't look as good in the shirt as he does.
Oh no, you do.
I'm a little bigger. We got Mr. Noel Evans down here at the bottom. Final Descent Outdoors, Final Descent TV, and he's got some beautiful bucks there in the background from there in Texas. Where are you in Texas?
Thank you. I'm down in southeast Texas, just south of. Actually, it's east of Houston a little bit, and west of Houston. I'm sorry, and my hunt down in southwest Texas, though.
Nice.
So, yeah,
nice.
The deer behind me came about 40 minutes from San Antonio. If you know where San Antonio is.
Spent like 3 years in San Antonio. I wish I'd have known you sooner.
Oh yeah. That's my home away from home if I'm not here. So
nice.
That's a beautiful specimen right there.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Well,
you put a tape on that thing?
Yeah, I did. But I heard your podcast don't like to talk about exploring deer.
Nah, we don't.
We got to measure it in cups.
We're still
dip it in some water.
Yeah,
volume. We're a volume team,
baby.
Yeah, volume displacement and water.
Yeah. I still want
that one over there on the left, from the way the light's hitting it, it almost looks like the body's fake. Like, see how the light's hitting it and
it's the one directly behind me?
No, up there to your right.
Oh,
to your right. Yeah, just the way it looks in the image there. It looks
almost I killed that deer in 1996.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he still looks amazing for being that old.
He's holding up good, man.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if he was new because he looks.
Let's see if I can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go.
Nice. Well, he's only 127 inches, but for
he's really light.
He's a really good deer.
That's awesome.
He's light in color too.
Of course, now the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're not going to be centered. Now you're good.
Oh, it looks good right there. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. So how'd you end up in Texas? Are you born and raised there, or?
Yes, sir. Yeah, born and raised right here in Katy, Texas. Like I said, which is just west of Houston a little bit, and just been hunting and fishing all over. Mostly, I grew up hunting in East Texas, which you don't have a ton of deer there, and kind of like what y'all were talking about on one of the podcasts, they're just super skittish and not a whole lot of them. And then then you go to West Texas, and they're all over the daggum place. And South Texas, you get a little bit better horns like this guy behind me. But yeah, so it's kind of a different range, from one region to the other. So I'm not sure how that is, up where you guys are, but I imagine it varies from county to county and area to area.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was the driving force in you getting into hunting? Was it family related? Just something you fell into with friends? What got you into it?
No, my dad was always a hunter. And so we grew up hunting, and my brothers, I got two brothers and my sister, we all grew up hunting. And then, I kind of took it to a different level. They all did it just because they enjoyed it. And I kind of got addicted to it, if you will. And I got into bow hunting 28 years ago, and that just took it to a whole nother level. It drives my wife insane. But, like you were saying on one of the podcasts, bow hunting and archery is just an addiction in itself. Arrow building's an addiction. It's you got to really kind of watch it on how far you go into it. But
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I got started. And I hunted for 15 years before I ever killed a deer. That's how bad East Texas was. We were lucky to see one buck a year. And but they put in antler restrictions, and you got to be outside the ears or one unbranched antler in a lot of the counties, and it just took off from there. So it's a lot of counties are not like that anymore, but it really helped because some of those counties, if you would see a 110-inch deer, it was amazing, and now they're killing 150 just because of the antler restrictions.
Why are the antlers? I have a question. Why are the antlers so dark Like I always see dark antlers out of Texas. Are they hanging out in a lot of brush? Because I know in Ohio, I don't know. This is the saying is when you see a really white rack, the deer spends a lot of time in the sun. It bleaches it out. Is that what's going on in Texas?
No, I mean down here in Texas, there's a lot of mesquite trees and stuff like that they're rubbing on, so there's a lot of sap in them. And then like the deer that one that's light colored up there, he's in East Texas, and sometimes you get really dark antlers up there, and sometimes they're light. It just kind of depends. And then that skull mount, he's from the hill country, and it's just kind of varies, but it just depends on what they're doing. Because I mean, there's some deer on my place right now that have lighter horns than most of them. It just kind of varies, but I think it basically what all they rub on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
We see that up in the Northeast. If they're in pines or in the swamps, really rubbing up on those pines, really sappy trees, they start getting dark bases and working their way up.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, different genetics. They're sweet, man. That's a once in a lifetime deer there, man. I can't stop talking about it. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good deer. His brow times were amazing. And I didn't even know that deer was there. We found one guy on the lease found one picture of him, and I've shown some of the pictures to Josh where there was 2 deer that I was hunting. And then so the weekend I went and got him, I was actually just going to doe hunt because I figured, okay, it's 3 weeks before the rut starts. I probably won't see a mature buck. And a doe came in, and I was trying to get a shot at her, and all of a sudden I saw a shadow of a deer and saw antlers. And when he walked out, I'm like, where did you come from? And 28-yard shot. So will air his episode in 2 weeks. So
nice.
thank goodness I had the camera with me, and I took the camera with me just basically for glory, not shots, because I really didn't plan on seeing a mature buck because I didn't have any on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, but not recently. That middle of October is usually a little, you just don't see them.
Yeah.
But anyway, it worked out for me. So
yeah, there you go.
28 yards, and he went 15, and pretty cool video. He started wheeling, and his horns got caught in some barbed wire on the ground that flipped him over, and he laid to rest right there. It's pretty cool.
Good footage.
Yeah.
Where's that airing on?
It's going to be on Pursuit Channel, and not this coming Monday, but the following Monday at 6 p.m. Central.
We're gonna have to chime into that one and check
Yeah,
that
it'd be
out.
fun to watch. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet.
Yeah,
So grew up hunting and lived in Texas your whole life. So what made you make that next step to wanting to get into, I don't want to say doing it for a living, but for a profession or doing it professionally? What made you make that next step? How did that come about?
It actually started with doing some youth ministry where I was taking fatherless young men on hunting and fishing trips. And so I was doing that kind of outfitting for those kids. And that took it to another level, just getting in the outdoor industry that way. Met some people, started guiding for them. And just one thing led to another over the years. I always wanted to be part of TV, but never really thought it was that something that I was really just trying to push for. And I just, every time God opened the door, I went for it and started with a smaller TV show. I've known Brad, our host, for, 6-7 years now. And we were at an ATA show one day, and he was like, "Hey, man, I hear you're thinking about leaving that other show you're with." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Man, we'd love to have you." I'm like, "Hey, I can't pass that up." So it's worked out really good. Just, the doors opening and just going through them, just whatever.
Yeah.
You can't pass up opportunities like that, especially when everything about it's in my wheelhouse, so faith-based, and they love bow hunting, and they're not too far from me either. I can run up to Oklahoma anytime I want and head up there with those guys, and so the whole team is pretty good people.
That's
we
awesome.
kill some amazing deer. Those guys up there, I'm jealous. We got one guy, Paul Powers. We tease say he can kill a 160-inch deer in a Walmart parking lot. It's just dude's amazing, man. It's just he'll send us videos that, "Hey, man, I let this one go," and you're like, "Dude, you're crazy. It's a 180-inch deer, Yeah, but I think he's only 5.5. Okay, that's you, But he's got 5,000 acres up there, and
Oh wow, there you go.
some pretty good deer. Yeah, so we killed a 214 on that same property. Wow. I think it aired last year. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable. And how many people are on your team?
There's 8 main guys, and then we got about 5 other field staff guys that I mean they video and everything as well.
Great. This season coming up now is season number
13.
Wow, 13 years.
13, yeah. It's been blessed to be on there for 13 years. So that's tough to do. We're the longest running TV show on Pursuit Channel.
That's a long haul.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be like right around the start of the Pursuit Channel. No, was it only like a year or two before that? No.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
have to look that up. But
it hasn't been around that long.
Mm-mm.
That's awesome. Good for you guys. That's pretty cool. So what do you think has kept you going, keeping the show special and keeping it out there and viewers watching? What have you done to spice it up? Or you guys feel like you evolve every year and just keep growing? Or is it, really just a detailed plan that you all lay out?
It's really just kind of how everything unfolds. It's not anything that we try to like Chasing November, if you've ever watched that show. It's one of my favorite shows, by the way. I love how they do it from start to finish. And, I've kind of thought, well, maybe we should take it get that direction. But of course, Brad's had his own way of doing it for all these years, and it's worked. So you don't change anything. But it's a mixture of bow hunting and CVA is one of our sponsors. So I was teasing with Josh yesterday or today that I've got to get one with a gun at some point because I'm always bow hunting, and Brad's like, hey, one of these days, you got to take care of that. So, but anyway, it's a bunch of good guys, and like I said, most of them are in Oklahoma. We got one guy in Illinois, and then there's two guys here in Texas. So it's just everything's faith-based, like I said, and the way that we do the show, it's kind of Brad most of the time is in front of the camera doing the in-show interviews where he'll walk in and, we put a lot of product placement in those while he's kind of telling what's fixing to happen or what just happened, whatever. He can be holding an arrow with a Clovis on the end of it, kind of that product placement, stuff like that. And I think that's been really good for our partners because it's not just a logo here and a logo there. They're actually getting bonus stuff by, wearing a t-shirt or just trying to get that product placement in there. It's worked out really well all these years. So
I like how a lot of like your show and a lot of other people are starting to move toward, instead of having dedicated time where they just talk about one product. I think we brought it up, Paul, in the podcast at your place. Actually, I call it embedded product placement. So you've got it embedded in the show or the pictures, the video while you're moving forward, and it gives viewers something to be entertained by while they're still catching what the ideas you're trying to convey to them.
Yeah, those are pretty cool when they get those little product and just pop up here and there. So we have our own little 6-second segment things where they're, all of them are introduced, and that happens with every in and out going to commercials. And then obviously there's little stuff like for Josh, we're doing a 10-second bumper, and that turned out pretty good. And then we'll do some other stuff later on, but depending on which sponsor it is. But Josh got a pretty good. It was kind of funny because when we were talking to Josh and trying to working out with the partnership, and it went on. I don't know, Josh, for what? It was good month and a half, I think, before we finally decided on it.
Yeah, I think so.
One of the things is with me being they kind of look at me as the main bow hunting guy just because it's my passion. I do it year round and all that. And Brad's like, hey, if we're going to look at other broadheads, I want you to do testing, kind of that stuff. So when I started talking to Josh, it was, hey, let me get some and let's test them, because I don't just want to jump into something just to have a product sponsor. And it worked out really good because I fell in love with the heads by testing them, and that means a lot to me to know that, hey, I really do trust this head. It's not just jumping into a sponsorship.
Oh yeah, that's huge too.
That has to put a lot of weight, and the people that watch you and follow you too, is if they know that you're only truly promoting products you believe in and would use yourself. You're not throwing products out there because they're paying sponsors. You know what I mean? That's important, especially nowadays when, you could say this is the best broadhead in the world, and then anybody can get on YouTube and look at a review and all the reviews are negative. Well, who are they going to believe?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, for sure.
It's very important. And it was big for me to make sure that it was something that I felt comfortable with. And I probably bugged Josh a lot because I'm like, okay, what about this? What about this? Because I wanted to make sure, even before I had them in my hand, that it was something that I felt confident, even just going in and testing.
I love going through design. I'm a broadhead junkie, of course, but I'm just a bow hunting junkie in general. So I think all you guys feel the same way I do. It's like, he came, I was shooting a different type of lighted knock, and, Noel said, hey, you ever heard of Halo Nocks? And I just hadn't used them. And my big thing was always with Nocks, the switches being annoying, how to get them off and turn them on, that sort of thing. And he presented me with the Halos, and I was like, holy cow, I really like this. And that's why he sent some, and I tried them, and I was like, I'm sold. So they're on every arrow I'm taking to Africa next week, so we'll light them up.
Nice. Well, we appreciate that.
Excellent. So talking about Halo Nocks, so how did that come about in the evolution? Well,
for me, getting involved with them was kind of funny because I was so sick of having Luminoc and Nocturnal, and I shot a deer with a Nocturnal, and as soon as it went through, it went off, and I'm like, man, I'm just tired of this, because they there for years they were really good, and then they kind of went downhill. And so I started going, okay, well, I need to find another lighted knock. I'm not going to do this anymore. And a friend of mine told me about Halo Knock coming out, and at this time I didn't know the backstory of originally it was Glory Knock, and then I didn't know the backstory. And so I reached out to them, said, hey, I'd like to be work with you guys somehow. And so I went through application process, and it was pretty cool how they did it, because it wasn't just, hey, if you want to be on staff or something, just come on board. It was, hey, we want you to we're going to send you one knock, and we want you to do some stuff for us. I mean, so it was video and photos and stuff like that, and testing it. Obviously, they want to know that you like the product, but they wanted other stuff as well. And so I sent them some photography and some video work, and they chose me to be part of an ambassador team. And then as I went into it, I learned the back part of it, where the owner, Stu Minica, actually was the original founder and designer of Nocturnal. After it got to where it was, he sold it to the Faradyne, and after his 5-year non-compete, he came out with the Glory Knock. We did have some issues with that, and then he went ahead and completely redesigned it, and that's when he came out with the Halo Knock. But during that process, my cameraman was looking for a job to help support stuff, and they were looking for a marketing guy, so he went to work for him as a marketing guy. And during that time, something else came up and he left, so I kind of took over that position for him, kind of got in that way, and just been with him ever since. So I've been with them 6 years now.
Nice.
Awesome.
Excellent. So what makes
Yeah.
them different, the Nocturnal Luminoc of the world? How do they set apart?
Well, with the new Halo Knock, our on-off switch, as you guys know, that's so simple. It's a reverse plunger technology. So as soon as you put it onto the string, you don't have to worry about it lighting up while you're at full draw or anything like that. And it's not going to light up unless it's off the string. So that's very critical. And it's basically designed to, if it ever fails, it's going to fail in the on position, not off. And so that's one of the bonuses to our knock. Also, the size of it is really close to OEM standards. If you take and you compare it to basically if it's a Black Eagle or whatever, take it and look at the dimensions, and they're super, super close. So another thing too, it's the lightest knock on the market. Our G knocks are 14.6 grain, our X knocks are 21.3. And if you put one of the H or GT adapters on it, it's going to add basically another grain to it. So you're looking at 22.4, with it on there. So they're still, even with the adapters, they're still the lightest on the market.
I gotta say, I love how when you're shooting, especially for practice, the big sell point to me was the switch on the side, and use my little thumb skin down there to push it off, and it pops right off every time. But I love when you put it back on that string, it shuts off. That's so nice for battery life and also shooting, so it's not bright in your eye.
Yeah, it's really, really critical to not have that, because who wants to come to full draw and have something glowing in your eye, especially if you're late in the evening. Nick Munt with Bone Collector, I was teasing him one day because there was a picture on social media pages where he's at full draw, and there's this light's just shining, running this green light shining in his eyes, and I'm like, come on, man, you got to get away from that. So yeah. And he did. He's actually shooting Halo Nocks now. So
nice.
But yeah, I can give a little demonstration.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the Nocks here, there's that little red button or green. I don't know if y'all can see that close enough.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you got green, blue, pink, or red here, and you put it on your string. Well, I'm going to put it on the knocking point. But once it's knocked, you can see that it's not on at all. But as soon as it comes off the string, it's going to light up.
Yeah.
And then to turn it off, all you got to do is just hold that button in. I'm going to do it in the backside. So sometimes, and you'll feel it click. And as soon as you feel it click, it comes off. It's just that easy. And you can, and the thing I love is you can take that and you can push it on that string as many times as you want, and it will not turn back on if it is fully engaged on the string. Push the button, turns it off. Super simple. The other thing too is that button. A lot of people worry about that button trapping blood or water, kind of like with the old Nocturnal, but it's completely waterproof and bloodproof. It's actually packed with a gel inside there, and it pushes that button out to where there's nothing can get around there.
That's interesting.
That's good to know. I didn't
go
know.
fish
that's
with
really
them,
good to know.
everything.
Yeah.
And notice I have a close on the other end of it.
I
saw
that. Well, what I liked about
beauty.
it, I think what I liked about best is my whole mantra, which is simple. I mean, there's so many things that they become more and more mechanical springs, and people get all kinds of things in them. But at the end of the day, you're still hunting. You're out in the elements, and you're in the weather, and you got to have something that just works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the longevity of them? Say, 'cause I know the Nocturnals. Like I was telling, I think Josh was there when we guys were at the shop. Like you can shoot one for 7 years and just target practice, and it works. But the minute you shoot it overnight at an animal, it's dead the next day. It's weird. I have one. I have it for 7 years, and it still works. But I shoot it at a deer, it's gone the next day. So what's the life on that?
Well, it's kind of the same thing with everybody else. We guarantee 20 hours. But it'll last a lot longer than that. I've tested them. I had one that lasted 1,050 hours. I would have hunted with it up to about 250 hours. And then I had a buddy of mine, his daughter is real big in the hunting industry, and we kind of became friends. And they were out shooting one night, and he had a blue knock, which a blue knock is not going to use as much battery. Just for some reason, they just don't use as much as green and red do. And they lost it. And this is the middle of the winter and snow and everything. And he was out there one day, 6 months later, and they were raking some leaves. and all of a sudden and it was still had just a little bit of glow to it 6 months later.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, did the cold help that? You would think that the cold would cause a battery to die, but I can't explain it. So that was, he sent me pictures, and I'm like, man, that's just crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I've had them, I've tested them. Some of them will last, like I said, 1,050 hours. Some of them last 900. Some of them only last 600. But, like I tell everybody, because everybody asks me all the time, well, do they have a replaceable battery? Well, no, but you don't need one. To me, that was, I'm not trying to talk bad about Luminox. To me, that was a sales gimmick to them, because really and truthfully, how many people use a lighted knock the entire time till the battery dies? It just doesn't happen unless you leave the battery out overnight, like you're saying. And usually if you leave them out overnight, they're still good the next morning, and you can still use them for a while. But it takes leaving them out for several days before you really just lose a battery.
I know one thing that I sometimes forget to do that's annoying, not knock related, but it is light related and battery related. And I just did the other day. I got a lighted CBE sight for my pins, and I'll be practicing. Troy's laughing because he does it too. You turn your light up, you turn your light on, use it, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna shut this off after every shot. And you forget for like a week, and then you're like, oh, this is not working, So I think, I don't know, I'm throwing it out there, but one of these bow sight companies, it'd be awesome if you guys could somehow integrate a little solar panel on top of the hood, and then that's all you needed, some sort of recharging battery.
I do the same thing, HHA's.
You're not supposed to tell people your secrets.
Oh,
Josh.
I forgot.
Come on, man.
I'm busy enough. I'm not making a site. So.
All right. I could delete this recording afterwards. So.
There you go. I shoot HHA, and they have that blue burst light, and I love it. But I'm like y'all. Sometimes I'll forget, because if we're out hunting hogs at night, I'll turn it on, and then you shoot one, and guess what? You get down there, and you're doing your post hunt interviews, you're taking pictures, and the next thing you know, you're going inside, and you're going, oh no, that's been on for an hour and a half. And those little batteries are hard to replace.
Yes, they are
hard to find. You can't just go to the store and find them. Not everywhere anyway.
Yeah.
I started Amazon backup batteries in my bow case just for that.
Yep. I do that too. Every year I buy backup batteries for that. Those little ones, I get them on Amazon. You can get like 50 of them for nothing. And
but
if they die in 2 hours, then whatever.
You're trying to put them in, they fall off the stack, and you get them in there,
and then it goes in upside down. And you can't get it out, so you're sitting there for an hour like this.
Exactly, they're a pain. They're such a pain.
Well, there's your next innovation. There, have Glory Knock make some new sight lights that they turn off on shot impact. So there you go. Now we're giving away too much info here.
Or if your light on your sight goes dim, just go ahead and take one of those and Glory or Halo Nocks and tape it to your sight there.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, just unscrew it and stick it in the hole.
Yeah, that's it.
Whatever it takes, right? That's what you got to do.
That's funny.
Do
they make crossbow knocks?
We're in the process. We used to have some when we had Glory Knock, and we had to change the molds and everything, and they're actually being tested as we speak. So it shouldn't be too long. I'm hoping we have them out here pretty quick. So
that's one thing. It's something that we talked about before a little bit, but man, I'll tell you that since Noel's here, the crossbow knocks and the bolts, man, there are so many sizes and so many knock types. They're all over the place, and some of them are specific to that bow. It's incredible. The crossbow knocks.
Yeah, you got Omni Knocks, you got Capture Knocks, you got all different, and everybody wants us to produce those, and a lot of those, like the Raven Knock, we can't produce it because it's patented, and they want to keep it in house. I think they let Luminox do it, but they don't. It's not everybody. But anyway, so there's a bunch. The most of them are the flat or the half moon, but there are some specialty knocks out there.
Those lighted knocks, especially on those. Well, I mean, our compound bows too, but especially those high speed crossbows, you have to have them, or you can't tell where you shot.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you have to have it. It's
crazy.
Well,
and the bad part is, I don't know, like with the Raven R500, I'm taking to Africa. I don't think anyone makes a light knock for the R500 bolts because they're a specialty bolt. No, is that true or not? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I really can't tell you on that.
I've never seen one on it.
Yeah, the Ravens we haven't really paid much attention to, just due to the fact that they're like, no, nobody can use our patent.
Just turn a nocturnal on and tape it to the shaft. And there you go.
There you go. That'll work. Yeah, like on top of it, like a double.
Yeah. There you go.
We also make a target light too called the Bright Spot. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. So
those are cool.
Yeah, it's we're doing kind of a trial with them now just to see how people like them before we put any more engineering into it. So right now you just kind of take the battery out, put it in by hand, and we're going to see how that turns out. I like them. I think they're really really fun to shoot at, and they're super bright during the day with sunlight
Yeah.
shining on them. It's pretty cool.
They are. I liked how you can actually insert the battery by hand, honestly, because it's a little tension fit. You just push it in, and it engages, and when you're done, you just pop it out. It is pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, I like it too, but a lot of people want that on-off switch, so, but that presents a problem if you nick it and hit it, you might knock that switch off, so not like knock it off, but to make the light go out, but then you got to walk back down range and turn it back on. But to me, I like just shoving it in there myself. So
yeah,
Problem is you
happens
probably
when
can't
you-
shoot. You probably can't shoot those Clovises at it though. You hit it and ruin the dang thing.
yeah, somebody commented on one of the posts about that, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not designed for that. They're designed for a rounded tip,
So they are designed for a rounded tip to hit it and not impact the light in any way.
Yeah, no, you can hit it and they'll bounce off. I'm not saying you won't break them, because I've actually broken one. Another guy I know has broken one as well. But they're supposed to. I mean, if you see the way it's got a real sharp point on it, and it's super hard material. So when it hits, it just kind of
Glance off maybe.
Yeah. Now the one that I busted and the other guy that I know busted one, they were both in 3D targets, and that's that foam's a lot more dense than say your typical just regular shooting block or something.
So are they? I know in my range at the shop, I have the big 5 foot by 5 foot big shot range targets in there, and nothing sticks to them. Like I had to paint circles on them in order to to get the dots on there. Do they actually stick into that bag version, like that?
Yeah,
that mesh they have on it.
I should have brought one up here with me, but they actually have the little stick that goes into the target. It actually has a little bump in it, so when you stick it through there, it actually hooks into the back.
Oh, great!
Josh, you don't have yours right beside you, do you?
I wish I did. They're at the shop. Actually, I don't have them right here, but yeah, he's right. You just kind of shove them in, and it sticks right in the target. So they work on yours, Paul.
Nice. Oh, there you go.
And it's fun. Your son would love it. Like I can tell you.
Dude, he would sit there until he destroyed that thing. That would be his life mission.
Yeah, that kid's an archery assassin. He's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the most I've shot in one day in a long time.
I know. I've never shot so many times at 10 yards.
Every person in my shop that comes in be like, "Hey, I make the walking sticks. Hi, I got a brand new bow. Hey, you want to come shoot with me?" Everybody that comes in. It's awesome though. He loves it. It's a passion.
Yeah, it's great to see his energy. I love it.
Yeah, but I know that I switched to Halo Nocks this year as well, and in my shop we carry a bunch in there as well to sell. I'm a huge fan. Call me weird, but I like the pink. I think it's easy to see at night in low light. It's easy to find afterwards. I struggle with the blue sometimes. Maybe it's just my eyes or whatnot, or the white, but green and pink are my colors when I shoot lighted Nocks. So
I like the green. Green seems to stick out to me, and the red, I'm going to try the red a little bit more. I'm going to take some with me, but I'm mostly going to shoot green in my arrows because I think it traces better to my eye.
Yeah.
It depends on the person too. The red and the pinks both are the two brightest. The pink is basically a red LED inside with just a pink plastic knock. My lovely daughter just brought some bright spots to me.
Nice. Look at her.
Nice.
I just had some come in yesterday or a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Open them up. I want to see it.
Yeah, I shot him last week. I was at the range and I had the Prime Revix 2 and out smoking some Clovis into the targets, and I put a bright spot up, and it was getting it's probably like 7:30, so the sun was starting to go down a little bit, but super bright, easy to see.
Yeah, they're nice. So they come with these little rubber ends to put over the battery. You can see that, and whatever color knock you have, it actually comes with that color. That's just so you can grip that battery better, and you just put it in there and it turns on, and I'll turn it off so you can try to see. I don't know if y'all can see how sharp that point is.
Yeah.
And that's where it's designed so that the arrow will ricochet off. And then there's that little dip in the rod that makes it stick for bag targets. Originally, we were going to come out with just a straight shaft for regular foam targets, and then one that had this in it for bag targets. And we decided just to incorporate it into one.
Now, what size diameter is that light that you're shooting at? So like a Nox size?
No, it's bigger than a Nox size. It's probably better than a quarter inch. It may be close to 3/8 of an inch. But
okay,
it's a pretty good little dot to look at.
It is. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like a size of a Christmas light, light bulb, little light bulb.
So that's an X knot compared to it.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean it's a nice little target to shoot out there 60, 50, 60 yards. So gotta get me some of those.
They're super cool.
Gotta get me some of those.
They're super cool. So.
Try them out. Awesome.
And,
so
and
now
the other thing with them too is you can use them for like your kids with BB guns, put them into a box. And Brian Keitlinger, one of my buddies, actually met Josh last week. He took a bunch of photos and videos for me with his kids shooting them with BB guns. I'm like, man, that's the way to go. Because you can put that in Walmart or anything. You know, we haven't done it yet, but that was one of our thoughts is, hey, it would be cool for the kids to be able to play with this with BB guns as well. Obviously, you know, I had a guy ask me, well, can you shoot a 22 at it? Well, no. You know, but BB guns would be fine.
Right, intelligent people we have in this world. Gotta love it.
Like, yeah, okay.
Can I shoot my 30-06 at it? I mean, you can, but
you won't find it.
Yeah, but you're gonna be buying another one. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Troy, I got a question. Are you watching TV or something? Like it keeps getting like brighter and darker and lighter.
That there is a TV on with no volume, but I don't know if you kept hearing me check it was like lightning like crazy a second ago and thunder.
Really?
And
we could see the flashes in the picture behind you. I'm like, you're sitting there watching Rocky.
Severe thunderstorms and chance of tornado. You know, it brings me back to home, back down to Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas area down there. So
Bub, send some of that down here. We could sure use it.
It's bad here in Ohio. If the wind picks up, everybody loses power. All the trees fall down, and it's horrible.
No fun.
They're not used to it like they are in those states, you know, where it's always windy. Here, you get 40-mile-an-hour winds and you lose power for a couple hours.
So we need
been pretty dry down there.
Oh my gosh, it's been really bad year.
You've been getting that heat too, right?
Yeah, I had a deer come into my camera yesterday. I got it over a mineral site, and she came in about 12:30, and it said it was 115 degrees on the camera.
Oh wow!
Which I don't trust the cameras 100%, but it's within I don't say it's within 2 or 3 degrees. You know,
sitting in the sunlight, probably. Yeah,
that's crazy. Oh man, I can't imagine being you imagine being a blind. I mean, like 100 degrees and a hard blind. Oh,
like sitting in a porta john out in the sun or something.
For the last week, they've been hitting that mineral in the morning and midday and evening, and that's what it is. It's finally just so dry. I got a pond about 150 yards away, and they're going over there getting water and then coming and getting some minerals.
Yeah, it's been hot out here too. We've had about 2 weeks of high 90s, humid. Finally, the humidity broke. It's still hot. I mean, you guys were out here during the humid
humidity was horrible there. It was like swimming pool.
Bad.
You're walking around in a sauna.
So the seasons in Virginia go like this. You have winter, you have spring, you have mud season, and you have summer, and you have humid season, and then you have fall. So that's about how it goes. So we're almost past humid season, getting into we still have August, so August will still be hot and humid, but
I saw lightning, Troy. I saw something flashing. It's happening here too. I'm just watching out the window.
Well, we've got a little dog upstairs. She might end up down here, but Meg, she's 12, 13 years old, but if a raindrop falls outside, she loses anxiety through the roof and starts shaking and panting, and drives me nuts. But
it's funny how some dogs get scared with that stuff and others just okay, whatever.
Yeah, we had a bigger dog. He passed, but she would run to him and hide with him, which was fine. But now he's not here anymore, so it's us that she bothers.
Climb all over your face and everything.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him, but it's like, come on, really?
Yeah. Well, I figure after 12 years of it, she'd be, she'd understand what's going on, but I guess not.
Same reaction.
Nope, not at all. So Noel, you got any big hunts planned this year?
I got a buddy of mine who owns 2,300 acres down South Texas, and he's on a management program. It's low fence, but he gets about 40 doe tags a year, and I think it's like 25 buck tags a year on that place. So we shoot a lot of does down there and some management bucks, and then of course I have my own lease, and then I may go up to Oklahoma. I'm not sure. Brad and I've kind of discussed it a little bit, but they had a real bad drought year before last, and their deer herd was just down. And then we take a lot of sponsors up there hunting. He's got 5,000 acres as well, and it just hadn't been good. So we've been saving the deer that he does have for CBA guys up there and some other sponsors and stuff like that. And then I'm going to go hunt with Josh, and I'm excited about that. So looking forward to.
And there ain't a deer
coming up to Ohio.
There's going to be a shortage after this year. The amount of people going up to Ohio.
I'll tell you what, we've got past. I'd say the past week. I can't even show you guys the buck I have that someone sent me a picture of, but my lordy. I mean, we've had some big deer in velvet coming up. Troy, you've seen some big ones too on the camera recently.
Yeah, and there's a couple places, we talked about it before, how hard it is to get permission on some of these spots. There's a couple farms that I've been asking for the last 3 or 4 years in a row. Yeah. And I got a hold of one of the gentlemen, and he finally said yes. So we're going to have to go check that out, Josh, and get some cameras up.
Oh, nice.
My son, you want to say hi and jump in here?
Hey, man.
That's my
How
son.
are you?
It's Easton. Say hi.
What's up, Easton? How are you?
He's stunned.
Yeah, he's like,
you say hi.
TV.
I already said hi.
Okay. All right, I'll catch you later.
That's cool. We have
But-
to. What was I going to say? I was going to say something to Troy about. I know how we can get the farmers if you want. You just bring me up there for a week, right?
Mhm.
And I'll just cook.
Yeah,
We'll
there you
knock on
go.
their door every day with something else, and we'll be like, "Come on, man!
Yeah.
Like,
But-
let's
Hey,
go."
I
you
told
just
my
need
wife.
to- you just need
Go
to
ahead,
tune in to Seek One for a few episodes and learn how those guys do it.
Yeah.
I've followed some of their tips for a year. I've sent out letters, knocked on doors. I've done a lot because not being from here, geez, it's been a struggle. It's taken me. I mean, I've
Dress
been
your
trying to
wife up
hunt for
pretty and send her out there.
6 years, and I finally got some places to go, but it's tough. There's a ton of public land. We could always go on public land, but trying to get on some of these good private spots, it's a challenge.
You got to
Yeah.
beg and plead, man.
Yeah.
Beg and plead.
Yeah.
Told you, good home cooking.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
oh,
working
Paul-
out though. We got some good spots. Josh has some amazing places lined up, and like I said, I've kind of worked into a couple good spots. And at the end of the day, the deer move. So as long as you're in the woods, you got a chance.
Heck
It
yeah.
ain't killing, it's hunting.
Yeah.
Yep. If if the arrows aren't flying, there ain't no dying. It gets Dirk. That Hell's Canyon, Dirk Stark. I don't want to copy it.
Yeah,
I
Paul,
told
you were talking about being worried about not having any animals after this year. That's one of the things. Like, hey, I don't care if I shoot one. I just want to go.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
meet Josh and hang out and being in camp's what it's all about. I've always said that it's not. If you get an arrow through something, that's just a bonus.
Well, I already told. I think I already told Paul. Paul, didn't I tell you this? If not, I'll tell you now. You're aren't you coming up because you're at the same time Noel is? You're the head chef the whole week, aren't you? Are you?
Yeah, let's roll. I'm good with that.
Hey, man,
that
I'm
would actually
good.
work. That work out really well. Actually, we got a lot of stuff we can do.
There's only a couple things in life I do very, very well, and that is number one.
I heard you can cook a little
Hey,
bit.
and I can attest. I
can.
had his cooking the
man.
other day. It's delicious.
Yes,
I can
sir.
throw down. I run a restaurant group up here in Arlington, and one of my GMs is a chef as well. And he was bragging about cooking and everything and all this stuff. And I looked at him and I said, "Man, he's like, I'll throw down with you any day. Let's go right now." And he was like, "What?" I'm like, "Let's go." I was like, and I started showing him pictures and stuff. He's like,
Oh
"No,
yeah,
I'm not going to do
I'm
it.
not touching that.
I'm not touching it." I'm like, "See,
I tell you, just the pictures that Josh posted last week when he was down there with y'all. I mean, I wanted to climb through the TV.
Yeah, I'll tell you
Oh,
what.
yeah.
The elk tenderloin that you marinated oh my goodness, you slice it thin and grill it. That is like heaven. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I got one for you that I'm going to post up here in a minute. Well, after we do it, but see if I can get it up here.
I can't. Is that a pinwheel? What the heck is that?
And it's
No, you
What
can't
is
really
that?
see it. It's a pig and fig pizza, so you can't really see
Huh.
it too well.
might
but
want to lower your brightness. a
your
little bit.
brightness.
That's
Yeah.
something else.
Ah,
Speaking of pigs, Noel, you were saying you guys
Speaking of
do a lot of
pigs.
hog hunting down there in Texas,
Oh yeah, I mean they're
Picking up
just
pigs.
everywhere. So
right?
I had a buddy of mine that owned
There it is.
there it is.
that's still a little. I'll post it up. You guys will see it.
I had a buddy of mine that owned a place called Hog Wild Adventures, and it's only an hour from me, so it was really quick to get there. I'm not sure if he's gonna do it again next year, or if he's gonna retire, but anyway, it's pretty cool. It's 1,000 acres, low fence, and what they do is they bring it. There's a cheese factory in Houston, and so the milk byproduct of that cheese whey, they actually have to get rid of it, and so what they do is they bring tanker loads out there, dump it in some containers, and then it basically made a river through the property, and these hogs just come out of the river, and it's just, I mean, you can go back and watch some of the episodes we've done there. It's just it's nothing to go over there and have 3 guys up there and kill 10 to 15 of them in a weekend. So
River of cheese corn. I'll come out to it too.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound that easy because it is still hunting, but
Mm-hmm.
it depends on, because he's got guys that come up and hunt that are paid hunters, and I run the social media for him, and I'm like, okay, I need pictures, and he's like, dude, I got 6 guys in camp and none of them can shoot, He's like, they've launched 12 arrows and not a dead hog one, so you get opportunities, but it's one of the deals where I don't want to make it sound like it's a pin, a canned hunt, because it's not. It's still hunting. I've been where I've only killed a couple, but a lot of times we stalk, and that's what's fun, is stalking upon them. The grass is pretty high, and you can get in there, where they're kind of at, and stalking them. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So,
sounds
Absolutely.
fun. Sounds like a ton of adrenaline, I'm sure.
We're doing in the fall, Noel. I think I told you when Hunt Tech comes over and treason comes up, we're doing a whitetail hunt here in Ohio. But at the end of the hunt, I'm going to set up this another Russian cross boar. We're going to do a super boar this year, so he'll be 600 plus pounds, and we're going to go down and hunt him right at the end of the hunt. So I mean, it'll be a pretty good day, a lot of fun, and that's a lot of meat. So it's good
That is a lot of meat. I'll see if I can find
Yeah.
this picture. Kind of might be like you, it won't show up, but we killed one 3 years ago. I had a buddy of mine who owns a TV show in Canada, and they came down to hunt with us at Hog Wild Adventures. And the guy who takes care of the cattle and everything, he kept saying, "Hey man, there's a big hog in here." And my cameraman and I saw one walking away one day. We never could catch up with it, and so we're stalking. I shot a hog that morning. I told him, I said, "Hey, come on, I'm going to film you. Let's go in here, find my hog, and while we're doing it, we'll stop in there and get and see if we can get on some hogs." A big group went off. One of them had good cutters. We tried to get on them, and they just kept moving away from us. And I happened to just look down, and man, that's another hog. Was he dead? I mean, it was a big hog. And we stalked in and got within 25 yards of him. I could watch his eyes, open and close. He was just sleeping. And when he got up, I could see the hawks. I'm like, man, that looks like a calf. This hog's big. And finally whistled and got him to his feet. And we ended up hitting 3 arrows in him. 30 minutes later, I had to call the landowner to come down with a rifle and put him down.
Wow.
And I mean, in all 3 of those shots, that guy pinwheeled him. Blood. You'd never seen those pictures of like buffalo where the Indians with those spears in them and they had spears hanging out with feathers on it. That's what this hog looked like walking through the woods. The footage is pretty cool, but ended up weighing 495 pounds. So I can't say he's a full wild hog, because he's got some domestic in him because he's got a white stripe on him. But his nose is pretty long, like a wild hog.
Was he a crossbore? Is that what he was? Like a crossbore?
Well, yeah, he had some domestic hog in him. He wasn't pure Russian, but anyway. So yeah, that episode aired in Canada a couple of years back. It was actually right before COVID hit, so they were worried about getting home because it all happened right when it was a pretty cool deal. So that was.
So what do these wild hogs, do they breed with the domestic ones, and that's how it happens, or people let them go? Or
if a domestic hog gets loose, they end up breeding with them, which is basically what happens. Some people have a domestic hog and somehow it gets out or whatever, and like we used to have one at that place there that was a potbelly pig, and we're like, where'd that come from? But it would hang out with the wild hogs. We kept teasing about, hey, we're gonna cook that bad boy up. It's probably tender.
I thought the one last July I shot, I was terrified before I shot it because there were a bunch of sows in there and they were eating each other's babies. Like I had never heard a noise like that. It sounded like dinosaurs going at each other, and the outfitter actually ran in between them fighting, and I was like, I'm gonna step back. I didn't want any part of that. It was something else.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those, especially if you get around the sows where there's some cubs in there. They're meaner, and the boars are gonna have bigger teeth, but
they get nasty. They get real defensive, and the drop of blood. I mean, the one I shot is probably, I'd say, 5 minutes after I shot it, they're like, hey, we got to get the tractor in here, get this thing out of here, because these other Russian boars are going to come in and smell that blood and want it. And they were just like on that thing. And so we had to get it out, get ourselves out of there as quick as we could.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Sometimes they're kind of like, if you ever heard about buffalo, if you go hunt buffalo and you shoot one, there'll be another one come in and just ram it and try to beat it up. I don't know if the boars are the same way. I killed one that was 270 pounds a while back, and he went around a tree. I couldn't see him, but the outfitter was texting me and said, "Oh man, he's pumping, he's good." And he fell over. All I could see was a lighted knot kind of behind the tree, and a big boar came out, run over to him, and just rolled him. It was pretty cool how they do it.
Yeah, they're
super aggressive. So.
Oh yeah, super aggressive. Yeah.
But here's a picture. I don't know if y'all can see it. That's at that 495, and there's 5 of us behind it.
That's a big old,
unbelievable.
8 foot.
It's like a bear.
I can see that stripe on it too.
Yeah, crazy how big that.
A lot of bacon.
Oh, it's almost like they're milling around together, and you'll see them in a group, and then if something happens, they'll go feral, and like it's like 3 seconds. They often go feral, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? You gotta get out of there.
And I don't know if y'all can see that. That's me pulling his head up out of the cooler at work that I had him mounted.
Jeez.
And they charged me an extra $600 because they didn't have a mount big enough for him, so they had to take Bondo and build the mount up.
Unbelievable.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah,
we've never seen anything like that. That's definitely a once in a lifetime hog.
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing I haven't shot. I haven't shot a boar yet.
I mean, my wife and I think the meat from that hog that I got last July, we still have some of it, and we felt like it was the best hog we've ever had. I mean, it was way better than a domestic pig. It was a crossbore, but I shot. But man, we'll throw it in a slow cooker. I'm sure Paul could cook something up with it, but let it sit for 10 hours in a slow cooker with a little BBQ sauce, a little liquid smoke or something, and it just falls apart. It's great.
Well, if Billy stays in business, I'll have to holler at y'all and I'll come down.
It'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
A big old hunt. So
love to. Yeah, it's a fun hunt. A little different, but fun.
Yeah, I was
something different.
It's a lot of fun, and most of these are pure wild, Russian boars. They're not technically crossed, but you'll see some. I mean, they're still gonna have a long snout. You can tell one that has a lot of domestic in it, you're gonna have a shorter snout, and those longer snouts are where that Russian comes in.
Are they still considered evasive down there in Texas?
Oh yeah,
like they are in Florida and everywhere else?
they're not as bad as people make them sound, but they do rut up a lot. Everybody's like, oh, well, if they're tearing up your land, why don't you let them come home for free? Well, it's another way for these ranchers to make money, So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you
Yeah,
can find some
especially-
places free to hunt, but there's a lot of outfitters that are charging for it.
Yeah, especially with farming and everything, the way the prices are for feed and all that, and they got to make money somehow. So
Oh, absolutely.
why not? Absolutely, why not?
Yeah.
But I got a question in regards to archery because that's what I do, right? I love it. It's my
Yeah,
passion.
I'm all about archery, man.
Yeah.
I'm made
So
up with
what
it, man.
what arrow setup are you running?
I've been running Black Eagle. This year I switched to Cirrus and with Ethics components. I've been with Ethics for about 5-6 years now, and typically build all my own arrows. And I'm going with QTI veins this year, and obviously a Halo Nocks. So I'm going to be around. I like that 460 to 480 range. And with the Cirrus, it's probably gonna be a little bit heavier because the GPI is a little bit more. So I'm probably gonna be in that 520 range.
You're shooting 70 pounds.
Yeah, 70 pounds. But here, most of my shots are 40 yards and under. So going with a little bit heavier arrow, getting that front and center a little bit more is fine.
So now, do you like? I'm a big advocate of building your arrow and your setup and adjusting your bow based on the game you're hunting. Do you go that far into it? So, like, if you're going, on a boar hunt versus a typical whitetail hunt versus whatever, are you going that far?
Not really. I mean, with the wild hogs, as long as you don't hit that plate, you're going to be fine, and obviously what broadhead you're shooting. But I think as long as you're in that, I wouldn't want to shoot a 400 grain at some of these hogs, but if you're in that, 460 plus range, I think you're going to be fine. And you talk about the, that range of 460 to 550. I mean, that's really good for any whitetail, really these boars, elk hunting. I know y'all. I think y'all were talking about going a little bit heavier on elk last week, or was it?
It depends on where you're going. So I like that 480 to 500 range for elk, especially because there's where I hunt in Utah, like you have the opportunity at some that are 80, 90 yards away. And you want to be able to extend out, somewhere. If I was going out in Colorado and doing public land out there, I'd probably go a little bit heavier because I'm going to be closer in the, the aspens and the hardwood. It's a little bit more open out in Utah, and then for the moose hunt I'm going on here in a couple weeks, my arrows will probably be around, I'm shooting 84 pounds. And I'll probably be at that 575 range. And it's a Revex 4 prime at 84 pounds. It's pushing that. Right now, I have a 560 arrow. It's pushing 302.
Fast. Whew. 560, 560 grain arrow.
Fast.
303.
84
that is
pounds.
Fast.
Very fast. So I know that 426. Yeah, like around 430, we got out of a Revex 4 at 70 pounds, we got 318 out of.
Y'all are killing me.
They're fast.
Y'all are killing me with all this prime
They're
talk.
fast, man.
Yeah, it's a fast bow.
I tell you,
Yeah,
what,
they're
these
fast. They're hard hitting. So
the arrows I'm shooting out of this right now are 480 and 297. So I like that. I like that kind of that 280 to 300 range. You don't really have to be screaming like that, but man, if you can get it, there's nothing wrong with getting it.
I mean, we have video shooting out to 80 yards, and it's just straight, just slow motion straight, no arc at all, just whoosh, right out there. So it's really pushing it hard. So, but yeah, they make a good bow. It's definitely a nice one. But I think arrow setup for me, I get a lot of people that come in the shop and they're like, oh, I want this bow, or I like this, or I like that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you hunting for? Everyone always thinks of the arrow last. For me, the arrow's first. Like what we got to tune to that arrow. So what's the weight you want to be in? Or if they don't know, we'll give some guidance on that and then build the bow around the arrow. So I like taking it from that approach first. I get so many people that come in, they're like, oh, I want to try these arrows. I'm like, all right, where's your bow? They're like, oh, it's at home. Well, bring your bow in because we're gonna have to mess around with it a little bit. So
I agree with you. And when it comes to arrow building, you can, if you have a bow that's already there, you can adjust. Don't like something, and that's what gets me. Some of these guys that don't understand about arrow building, they're just like, man, just give me some arrows and let me shoot. Okay, if that's how you want to do it, but because I'll build an arrow, and if I don't like it, I'll build one. Come out and like, okay, well, this is what I want. I'll build that arrow. I go out and shoot it, and if I don't like it, I make a change. Even if I don't hunt with that arrow, I turn it into a practice arrow, give it to somebody, whatever. And that's just, and the reason I do that is because I want it to fit the bow, like you're saying. And it's just like that thing, right? This bow right here is just shooting darts with those arrows. It's why don't change it if it works.
Right. I'm amazed some of these guys they don't have any idea. Well, some guys and gals, I should say, they won't understand anything about spines. They don't really know how fast they're shooting or don't know what spine they're supposed to shoot, and it makes all the world of difference to understand. How that arrow is being accelerated out of the bowstring and what the weight on the end is and your front of center and spine. It affects everything. I mean, it's crucially important to know how those things go together.
And I've always told everybody, don't be afraid to go from a 350 to a 300, even if that's not what telling you, especially if you're shooting a mechanical broadhead, because that extra fine, it's going to help your penetration, especially with mechanical broadhead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's bows that like a stiffer arrow, like these prime bows, they love a stiffer arrow, like 300, 250, depending on the weight you're doing, because they're pulling 3-4 pounds heavier than the stickers say, because of the shortness of the cables. I mean, don't be afraid to make that jump. I know even Easton makes like a 330, as well as a 340 and a 350. So you can take that incremental jump down if you want, but definitely I tend to always start with a little bit of a stiffer spine for people just to see what the bow likes, because it's easier to tune. For me, it's easier to tune a stiffer spined arrow because you're going to know right away if it's overspined. It's going to be pretty blatantly obvious, where if it's underspined, you'll also know right away if it's underspined, but it can play tricks on you sometimes when you're getting down to, I got to move that rest just a quarter more of an inch, or I got a little bit of a tear, and it just, no matter what you do, it doesn't get rid of that tear. So you're either shimming or you're checking the spine of your arrow. So I like starting off a little stiffer there. So
it makes sense.
I agree.
You're never going to go wrong. Like you said, it's just going to push harder through whatever it's going to. So, unless you're shooting a target, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So,
I mean, all next week I'll be shooting a Prime Revix 2 with 300 spine FMJs, weighing with an outsert and the broadhead on 125 grain close in the end, probably running in the neighborhood of 580 grains at 285 feet per second. So, anything I
73 pounds
should get a blow through, should get a pass through, no problem. I mean, I over there before March, and it was an R500, but I put the bolt through a Cape Buffalo with 100 grain mechanical broadhead, and people think you can't do it, but quite honestly, the mechanical broadhead probably made all the difference in the penetration because it could fold up past those ribs and then it blew back open. So no issues. I think people think you have to hunt these big animals with super heavy arrows, and it's really not true. You got to find that moderation, in the middle.
What are you hunting this time?
I'll be looking for a gemsbuck, a sable this time, pretty heavy shouldered sable. That'll be a challenge to get through. That'll be fun to see what it does. And then zebra, warthog, and probably baboon. So,
it's funny because we talk about arrow building, and you get online, especially with these heavy arrow forums and stuff like that. And these guys they're going to Africa and they're building these, 1,000 grain arrows. And you're like, you don't need it, man. You don't,
I don't understand. It's overkill. I think what it comes from is probably traditional setups. People haven't caught up quite in the mentality of modern day bow speeds and energy. It's tremendous. And I think the old adage is you got to go super heavy. And that's definitely not true in today's world.
And there's a fairy out there telling people that they got to have this, they got to have that they really don't need, and you know what I'm talking about. And you don't have to have, like there's a guy in Florida, and their deer 150 pounds, and I got to have a 680 grain arrow to go shoot these animals with. No, you're being told wrong, buddy. I've blown through 250 pound hogs with a 420, 430 grain arrow, and it's you don't need it. Just
man. I told Josh and Troy when they were up, I showed them the bears I shot with the bow over the years, and I was shooting a 68 pound Bowtech Mighty Might with 350 spine Carbon Express Maximas with 55 grain rockets, and all my bears were over 300 pounds, and just pinwheeled them right behind the shoulder. They went less than 20 yards. Like,
that's incredible.
It just you got to hit it right. You got to have a good shot, and especially if you're going over to Africa, like their internals are laid out different. Some are higher and forward, some are lower and forward. So you have to actually shoot like you'd be shooting the bone of the deer going up, where that's really where the heart is. So understanding that impact of the game as well in order to get that direct hit. But I actually think it does some injustice shooting that heavy of an arrow, like a 800, 900,000 grain arrow. Like, how close you got to get. Like, you're not shooting 30 yards. I don't care if you're shooting a 90 pound bow. It ain't pushing that thing very far. So,
and I hope they're not shooting any Impala because they're so fast. They're going to be at a quarter mile away by the time the arrow gets there.
Right.
And I think I see a lot of that misconception. I've been big into elk hunting over the past couple of years, and I see a lot of that misconception with elk too. I like that mid to high 400 for elk, because there's going to be a time, like I said earlier, where I got to shoot 70 yards, 75 yards, and I need to reach out and touch them. So, you start cresting over that 550 mark, unless you're shooting an 85 pound bow, good luck on that arc going out there, so, that's just my preference there. I like to go, when I go out there, I'll go for more like a 5mm Easton Axis long range or Master match grade, just to have more of that, that true center flight, but still that front of center impact. So,
Brad, our host, he shot I don't remember what the inches were on that bull, but shot a big old mature bull, 430 grain arrow,
Oh, yeah.
And I think the shot was 57 yards. And I mean, he pinwheeled him, and that's what you got to do. And that's one of the things, I talk with Travis T-Bone a lot about arrow building. You get that guy on the phone, he'll spend 2 hours talking to you about it. And one of the things, going back to these heavy arrow guys that have been, they've been given the wrong information, and basically what they're being told, okay, well, if you hit that shoulder, you really need that extra. Well, the thing is don't hit the shoulder. Know your equipment, know your bow.
Exactly.
Why build an arrow to make up for a mistake you're going to make? If you practice enough, we're all going to make mistakes, but you're going to limit those mistakes.
Right.
Absolutely. No, 100% right. You don't tend to do anything with the hopes of making a mistake. So
Yeah.
How many of us sit there and stand and go, you know what? Okay, I'm going to pinwheel him through both shoulders. Can some of our equipment do that? Absolutely, but why?
Not even with a Raven am I going to do that. It's just not worth it. So.
Oh, did you mention crossbows again?
I did.
Oh, the cross guns.
The cross guns, yeah.
Cross guns.
I did shoot that.
And the whisker biscuits and.
Oh, the whisker biscuit. I was gonna say that before. I thought Paul's gonna get me a whisker biscuit for Christmas this year. Maybe I was hoping.
I came into this, Paul, and I was going to tell you right off the bat that I wasn't going to turn this into a Halo Knock deal where every time I turn around, I'm just, up in the Halo Knock a lot like we do here with this broadhead that we all love,
It's okay.
I saw it,
because every time I watch one of the podcasts, you always give them a hard time about, here we go. We turn this podcast into another Clovis podcast.
Hey, Noel, that Halo Knock you had on the short arrow shaft, there was something on the other end of that. I don't remember. Could you hold it up again?
Hey, I think that's a special crossbow bolt. That's smaller than the ballista, I think.
There you go. Look at that beauty.
Yeah, it can also be a pen.
Yeah. It's funny because I intentionally, back to last July, on purpose shot that hog in the shoulder just because I wanted the data, with the broadhead to go through. And I still have it on the Facebook page. You can check it out. But man, she was a nice entry exit and blew right through butter. It was awesome. But it was an intentional shot,
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you talk about pins.
It was.
It's funny you talk about pins. We actually made these with fletching on them for when we go to the ATA show, and so that the dealers can fill out their stuff with actually having it. And then we would use them with like I do my wedding ring all the time, and just that's how I demonstrate it when we're at the shows. So that's pretty cool though to have an arrow as a pin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was telling my son that the other day is we're going to save the cutouts at the shop and some old fletching we got, fletch them up, and we'll get the pen inserts and we'll stick them in there. And
there you go.
We'll make them for people to fill out. It'd be pretty cool. But all right, guys. Well, Noel, thanks for joining us today. This was pretty awesome.
Pleasure.
Glad
thank
to
you
have
for
you
inviting
on. Yeah, absolutely. We'll have you on again. Troy, Josh, thank you as always. Once again, this is the Bowmen Podcast signing off. Thanks all. We'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to the Bowmen Podcast. We love archery and bow hunting, anything outdoors. And we talk about fitness, mental health, gear, goods, cooking, and family. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media at Romano Outdoors LLC, at Triple Point Outdoors, at Greenlight Outdoors, at C_2 Media, and at Caleb Bow Hunts. See you next time on the Bowmen Podcast.